Greeting, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stan Houston. And today is Wednesday. Now, tomorrow is Maundy, Thursday. And then there's Good Friday. Saturday is a Holy Saturday. And, of course, Resurrection, Easter Sunday. But in this Holy Week time, is there any particular name for Wednesday? Is there a day for Wednesday? Well, surprisingly, in some traditions and in some history of the day and of the tradition, there is a name for Wednesday. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that and then see if we can make some applications to that just for you and me and perhaps for the life and business that we are in. Again, I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, brought to you by the Christian Entrepreneur Network. The program begins right now. And our program is underway. Again, this is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. It is a personal on-demand, that is P-O-D, broadcast, a pod broadcast, and it's just for you. Particularly for those of us who are seeking to discover how we can build a better life, build a better business that makes a difference, that does things that matter, and can serve ourselves, our family, our community, our place of worship, maybe even parts of the whole wide world by the kind of work we do and the services we provide and the way we truly serve others. Here's the story about Wednesday. Now, we're all very, very familiar, and in fact, I shared part of this story with my good friend Chal this morning, and I said, "Do you know what Wednesday is?" And he said, "No, but I was wondering about that. I thought, is Wednesday something?" And I was fun. I wasn't fun. It was fun. Maybe I was fun. I don't know. I don't think so. But it was fun to kind of share with him what I had just learned. And I simply wanted to pass it on to you too. Because it made sense, because we're trying to connect this to our lives, particularly our lives as Christian entrepreneurs. Most of us are familiar with Maundy, Thursday. That, of course, is the day of Jesus' Last Supper with his colleagues, with his friends, with his team. And, of course, on that night, he was betrayed, and that led to his trial and crucifixion on Good Friday. And, again, that incredible question, why do they call it good? And then the day of quietness, or perhaps where the Holy Vigil, sometimes called Holy Saturday. And then, of course, Resurrection, the risen day, Easter Sunday. Well, Wednesday does have a day, I found out, and supposedly this is what it is. Supposedly Matthew 26 tells us this. Then one of the 12, who was called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. And from that moment he sought an opportunity to betray him. Now, the actions by Judas earned him the title of spy by many medieval Christians in accordance with the traditional definition of the English word, which is one who keeps a secret watch on a person or thing to obtain information. And so, from Wednesday onward, Judas secretly watched for his chance to turn Jesus over to the chief priests. And so many Christians have labeled this day as Spy Wednesday. Spy Wednesday. Now, right now in the United States, we're having a big controversy about the word spy and spying. because in all of the news and information about whether the President of the United States had done something wrong, and then the people trying to find out whether he had done something wrong, that surveillance, was it spying? Was the president-to-be being spied upon? Well, that's the big story, and of course, part of that story will come out tomorrow when the report supposedly is given to not only the leaders of the country, but also shared with those of us who are citizens of the country. So it really caught me, because I didn't know this, and thanks to just the wonderful art of storytelling. Isn't it wonderful that there are just now so many sources of storytelling available? And storytelling is, as I teach you, it truly is the only really effective means of communication. So Wednesday is oftentimes called Spy Wednesday. Now, it has some other terms which I found kind of fun also, and these are important because this is obviously the day just before we enter into a very somber season. Sometimes it was called Wednesday of Shadows. Wednesday of Shadows. That was a term that was sometimes used. And because it is in the shadow, in the dark, sometimes it was called Black or Dark Wednesday. Dark Wednesday. Black Wednesday, because of what's going to happen. Because we don't know exactly what Jesus was doing on Wednesday, because the scripture account of that week is somewhat silent, it is sometimes called Silent Wednesday, as the Gospels do not seem to record any activities in the life of Jesus on that day. The only event is the secret meeting of Judas with the chief priests. And of course, Wednesday's events usher in the final days of Jesus' life on earth and directly lead to the sacrifice of Jesus on Good Friday. Well, there we are. That's the story that has come down to me. And so when we're talking about spying in the political and economic structures of the world, it's interesting to note how relevant everything is in the story. That Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Easter Sunday, and now you know, Spy Wednesday. I'm Stan Houston. Love to hear from you. Love to have you on the program. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. Please check us out. TCENglobal.org. That's the Christian Entrepreneur Network. TCENglobal.org. And if you would go tcenglobal.org/contribute now, we would be grateful. We're hoping that some of you will help sponsor what we do. We talk about a donor, we talk about an investor, we talk about a player, but we also want you to be a part of the work we do, and perhaps you would agree to sponsor some of the work we do, maybe sponsor a podcast, sponsor one of the services or the programs we provide. We'd love to have donors and sponsors, players, and there will be some opportunities for investors. Now, is there a lesson in the Spy Wednesday for you and me? Let's see if we can make that happen. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. We'll be right back. I've oftentimes said, what's with the Judas deal? And of course, that's a long question. Throughout history, people have wondered, why did Judas do it? How did that come about? Was he chosen from the beginning of the time? Was he just one of the players that God put in place? Did he have any free will? That has been a common question. And even the rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar, a good share of that story was about what was the motive of Judas. Why did he do what he did? He certainly became filled with evil, maybe filled with the dark spirit of the demon himself, but we all know what he did. What I have begun to discover is that perhaps that the life of Jesus is not just the life of his living example of what we can, should, learn, be, do, become, but in many ways it's an example of the life that we may be called to live too. You see, deep inside all of us, our birth might have been quite special. Not as special as his, but it could be that we have a special birth. All children, born and unborn, maybe they are special. Then perhaps there's a time in our life where we grow in wisdom, certainly grow, hopefully, in stature, maybe even in strength, and then in favor with God and men and women. That would be nice. We may even have a call come into our life, and then we have a vocation, a mission, maybe a commission that we have to live out. And in that way, we are certainly imitating Jesus. But could it also be that this is a demonstration of what life might be? Someday I may talk to Jesus, and I'll tell him about some of the Judases that have been in my life. And I might think that I'm kind of explaining what happened to me as if he wouldn't know, and he will look at me and perhaps smile and say, "Stan, yes, I know." Here's part of the story. You will be betrayed. In your life, in your business, pretty much count on it. There will be, first of all, maybe a Job experience. Everything's going fine, then all of a sudden it falls apart. And you say, as Job must have said, "Why did this happen?" There's the Jonah experience where you kind of run away from something and you get thrown overboard and you land up in the belly of the beast, it seems, and then you land up laying on the beach face down with your head in the sand and wondering, what do I do now? And then there's a good chance that there will be a Judas experience. And that is where somebody actually betrays you. You will be spied on, and you will be turned over to things that are not good for you as a result of what they did to you. The Judas experience. And there's where Jesus comes in. He knows all about the Job and the Jonah and the Judas experience, and now he says, now you get to experience me. And of course, then we will begin to understand. Then we'll begin to learn. Maybe we will discover the salvation and the fully aliveness that he has in store for us. Because that's what he came for. He came to make us fully alive and free forever. And there was a price to be paid for such a precious gift. And he paid it. Of course, that's the story that we're familiar with, and we can go from there. But as entrepreneurs, please keep in mind, we're probably, as many businesses know, we have to be careful. There may be people spying on us, trying to steal our secrets, take away our intellectual property, take advantage of us. And in some way, if we are successful in what we do, we're going to attract people who would like to spy on us and perhaps do something not very good to us for their own benefit. There are always people out there, as we say, there are always people who will take the 30 pieces. They'll take the 30 pieces. And that's just one of the lessons of life that I teach as a business coach. As one man said to me when I told him that story, let me tell you about my 30 pieces woman. Someone who he had helped, that he had really been a part of rescuing her, and then she turned on him for the money. That happens. And he went on. He forgave her and obviously has lived a life of faithfulness from that time on. And he knows who I am talking about, and I congratulate him on his work and his work of faith. But I just point that out to you. Please keep in mind that, yes, we can learn something as Christian entrepreneurs on this Wednesday, on this Spy Wednesday. I'm Stan Houston. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. We'll be right back. Well, I hope I succeeded in my little mission. One of the things I often say is, tell me something I don't know. Hope today I told you something you didn't know about Wednesday. And maybe there is something relevant to you, something you can think about. And then maybe we'll continue on. And hey, do you think Jesus would have forgiven Judas? Do you think Jesus would have forgiven Judas for what he did? Well, just let that sit on your head. Maybe we'll talk about that on Friday. All the best and blessings to you. Again, RadioEdge77 at gmail.com, RadioEdge77 at gmail.com, tcenglobal.org. I hope that you will be a friend, a donor, a sponsor, a player, and someone who can really join us in the work of perhaps taking a small part of the commercial and business world called the entrepreneurial sector, and we can fill it with Jesus entrepreneurs as we all sponsor one another in the Christian Entrepreneur Network. All the best, all the blessings. Just let these things sit on your head for a while, sink to your heart, and then take good action. Bye for now.